Sam, welcome. It's really great to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for joining. You have such an incredible background from government to global finance, and you were recently at our event earlier this month to talk about navigating private credit. I just want to ask you, can you please give us a quick preview of the key ideas you shared then?
Well, the key idea coming, thank you, Joanna. The key idea coming out of the private credit discussion is that the appetite and the desire for investors to participate in the market is still very strong. Yes, there have been situations recently where companies have blown up in the private credit space, but the view very much is that this is about risk management. But whether you're talking about real asset investors or insurance companies, it is very clear from that discussion that they all see pockets of opportunity in Europe and the US that they are willing to pursue, and across the world that they are willing to pursue.
Mhm. Thank you very much. But you also operate at the intersection of markets and policy. In your perspective, what's one geopolitical risk you think investors today are underestimating?
That's a really good question. Obviously, the discussion around geopolitical risks focuses a lot on tariffs, US-China relations, all of which are important. In Europe, the war in Ukraine. But I'd like
Hmm.
to hear more around the price of money. And we are no longer at a period where capital was cheap, abundant, and global. We're now very much in a situation where money, its availability, is being pulled into the
Hmm.
geopolitical world, but also into industrial policy. Independent monetary policy is therefore under huge strain. We are seeing fragmentation of global capital pools, but also the weaponization of liquidity. And I think the price of money is one of those areas where there is a real risk that investors are not talking as much about openly.
Yes, that is very true. Thank you very much for sharing that, Sam. You also bring quite a unique perspective as a former UK government minister. I would really like to understand, how has that experience shaped the way you think about power and influence?
That's a really interesting question. Obviously, I started my career out in finance before politics and now back in finance. And I would
Hmm.
say beforehand, the politics, the economics trumped the politics, whereas now we're very much in a world where the politics trumps the economics. And that means that wherever you are, whether you are an investor, whether you're a leader of a business, you've got to really take account of the geopolitical context in order to do business. And unsurprisingly, when I speak to a lot of CEOs and chairmen now, they're spending time in Washington, D.C., something they haven't done before. They're probably spending more time
Hmm.
in Washington, D.C. than in New York when they go to the US, for example. So the primacy of politics in investment and corporate decision making is one of the big changes now. And it means that it's a C-suite issue. It's not just an issue that sits in a department called government
Hmm.
affairs.
You've, as you mentioned, built quite an amazing career across Goldman Sachs and now your own firm, SNG Capital, and several top boards that you've served on. What advice would you give to a younger professional hoping to make their mark in both finance and policy?
Well, there's never been a better time. I would say that yes, I mean, the world appears turbulent, it appears to be in flux, but there's also, it's a great time to turn risk into opportunity. And so I think in finance, there's definitely great opportunities, but also in politics, it's a time where smart people are needed and sort of are for public service. So my advice to young people is to go for it.
Thank you, Sam. And it was actually the first time we hosted you at our event in Sweden about 2 weeks ago. How did you find
I
it in
enjoyed it.
general? Did you enjoy being there? Did you meet a lot of interesting people? Did you make good connections?
Superb event in terms of the range of investors that were
Hmm.
present. Um, Asset owners, and allocators and
Hmm.
investors across the spectrum of asset classes, having all of them there in the same room discussing the same issues is great to convene. And I think it was brilliant to be part of it, to contribute to it, but also to connect with those people in here and understand how they're seeing the world and how different it is
Hmm.
from how people in London are seeing the world versus Stockholm or Copenhagen or Finland or wherever they're from. I think that is one of the real benefits of that kind of convening approach.
Well, it was really great having you as well, Sam. Really enjoyed hearing your panel as well and being part of the day with you. Thank you so much for joining us and look
Thank you
forward
for having me.
to your next contribution.
Indeed, I look forward to it too.
Thank you.